Hey there, it's Eric, the host of the Machine of Nonsense, and you're listening to the Resident Evil Village Spoilercast. It was so big that we had to cut it into two different parts, so you're either finishing up part 1 or you're starting part 2. As always, I want to thank you for listening. Hope you enjoy our Spoilercast. See ya! I did want to touch on, because we mentioned a little bit, there's an optional area in this, like after the battle, after you deal with the monster and everything else, the water level goes down, and you have access to some optional supplies, some fish to use for cooking and stuff like that, and that's kind of a running theme in the game. There are like 8 optional treasures throughout the. I think it's 8. Josh, correct me. It's 40 for you, right? Because 5 times 8. But what did you guys think of the ability? I can't really think of another Resident Evil that had that mechanic of you know they're all little Metroidvania. They're all like, oh, you can optionally go back to an area, maybe open a door that you hadn't had access to, but this one expanded upon that to even having some like completely optional bosses that you could fight, which is new to my Resident Evil life. Did you think this was something that they should have done more of, less of? Did it add anything? How about you, Mike?
My favorite part of this game, besides the castle, is just like the adventure parts. Just looking up in a tree and seeing a bird cage, and I could shoot it down, and I get something in it that hits something in my brain that it's really satisfying, and it's reminded me the most of Resident Evil 4. Just finding little things, opening little hidden areas, finding treasure.
Yeah,
Then
I
that
really
leads to one of my least favorite parts. Sorry, Kayla. Just the overall pacing of the treasure. Like, you just get so much money. You eventually you don't even have anything to do with it for huge chunks of the game. I wish that part was better.
Yeah, I
Go
want
ahead,
to
Kayla.
touch on that going into the next section, but yeah, let's put a pin in the money aspect.
to kind of add to what you said about like shooting down the bird cages and looking up in trees. I liked when you found those photographs of like that blue bird, and you went
Mhm.
to an area where you have been for a lot of the game already.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
then there was something in that crypt there that wasn't before.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of like scavenger hunt kind of things like that. I think the Beneviento treasure kind of gave you false hopes because when you go there, you fight a boss you've never seen before. It's a new enemy type and it's a boss, and you fight it and you get a reward. Cool. But then later on, it's just they use the same bosses and there's not really much to them beyond that. Like, did you guys fight the alpha werewolf?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh wow! I didn't know it was there until I looked up the challenge, and I think that would have been a great way to make one of the treasures guarded by him instead of just in the field for no reason.
An
One in the
optional, yeah.
cemetery, right? Like that wheat field area.
Yeah, it's got like
Yeah,
spears sticking
I
out
got
of
him stuck in one of the small houses.
it.
And he was just in his running animation forever.
Oh no.
I just lit his ass up. It was awesome.
That was a cool boss encounter, which again that could have been used to hide a treasure instead of just being there unannounced.
Yeah.
I think this might be the time where you're introduced to the big wolves. Those could have been so much better. The leashing on, like the AI of it, is so bad. Like, it'll immediately forget that you exist. Like as soon as you like go into a house, it doesn't even know that you're in there.
Nelson,
It just goes back on its trail.
the werewolf that you beat. Are you talking about the one that was right after the cutscene?
I fought 3 total. The very first, like when you get through like a red gate and he like bursts out. The first one. Yeah, and then I just think after that, every fight after that with those is just trivial.
Yeah, I was able to kind of cheese one of them. I forget which one it was, but there was a house like really easily accessible that you could just like walk into, and like you said, Nelson, like it was like, okay, you go in
he
there and
just goes about his like, oh well,
you.
It never
Go
even
for a
comes
jog
towards
over
you
here.
anymore.
Yeah. So
Or,
that
like,
was unfortunate.
anticipating him to come over there, and he never did. We're like
Yeah.
slowly going out, setting some traps, and then he doesn't come.
Yeah.
But that also could have been a cool little gameplay mechanic where there were like, quote unquote alphas just wandering the map at certain places. But
Could have been.
there was just the one.
Yeah, that's I did like, I mean, comparing this to 7 from just a depth of different enemy types. I mean, it's 7 was knocked a lot of times for, there's really just like the molded creatures, and maybe like some of them stand, some of them don't stand, like whatever, some crawl, some jump, but like really it's like one creature type and then a couple others like in very like small sections or whatever else. This, at least, you had your lichens, you had your zombies in the castle, like dungeons and stuff. You had your alpha wolves.
Very similar to 4. 4 is always introducing something a little twist. Even if it's the same kind of enemy, they'll change it a bit.
Yeah, and a big part of this you guys might not have seen is that when you play on ultra hard, their AIs are vastly different from when they're playing in the main game.
Okay.
Because like the werewolves are fucking terrifying. They are so aggressive, and then the zombies they don't come out of their hiding spots as fast and as ahead of you. Like they're more pop out scares. So playing ultra hard gives you a lot more variety in enemies.
I like that. I almost wish that was worked in somehow into the standard difficulty, but just give you more health or whatever, like give you more
That game
supply.
would have been miserable. The lichens on the super hard are so goddamn aggressive. They are so difficult to deal with.
Yeah, but I think we've all said that, like, overall this is one of the easier Resident Evils. I would say it is.
On normal,
So,
yeah.
Yeah, on the like standard difficulty.
Yeah, I tried a little bit on hardcore and noticed how different the aggression.
I never played hardcore. I went straight to Village of Shadows.
So
I started on hardcore and got to that terrible survive part and didn't get past that part. That's how far my second playthrough went.
you didn't survive. You didn't survive.
No, I was trying to do. There's like a cool achievement to kill Orios, the big bearded hammer guy in the first area. I was trying to do that.
Holy shit! You can kill him.
Yeah.
You start the game with all your shit, like your full kit. So
you can.
I don't even think
I
ran into him at all in that section.
you have to be like outside, like you can't be in a house to really.
You have to go down the river a little bit.
Oh yeah, no,
But
I was a scared boy.
such a-
I was in the corner.
It's such a blue balls thing where you're like, oh, I'm gonna kill this dude, and then you kill him with like your shotgun. And he just kind of goes to one knee, goes and then walks away. It's like, okay, cool.
Oh.
Neat.
Oh, you don't really kill. Okay, you just okay.
Yeah,
You still have to fight him later. Okay.
Yeah.
I was wondering how that worked.
his brother came.
Yeah. Did you guys think that Heisenberg was that guy? Was that creature?
No.
Oh, interesting
I
thought.
thought it was actually going to be Chris.
Oh, okay.
'Cause he's wearing a similar coat. I'm like, oh shit, is that Chris?
That's a good call. I didn't put either of those fan theories together, but
I was like, oh, dude with a hammer? Bigger dude with a hammer?
it makes. I mean, both of those make sense. Like you said, dude with a hammer, dude with a bigger hammer. But Josh, like a lot of the marketing materials, I think like the game cover itself, I got it digitally, but like the game cover itself is half Chris, half like Wolf. Like they
make it like Chris is going to be some kind of mutated thing or something at some point. It's
I
laughable.
wondered.
I really think it is like an intentional red herring because they got similar coats. Then when he recognizes you, he stops everybody and walks away, and like they have some form of like technology, like they're riding horses, they have banners and shit. I thought that was Chris, and that was his unit of BSSAA whatever soldiers that were trying to take the town. I thought that's the way the game was going.
Man,
Where it was like the Lycans versus the vampires, straight out of a fiction.
that would be a different game.
Man, that would be a cool movie.
Yeah,
I'd like
yeah.
a couple of
Let's figure that out. I think Bill Nighy would be really good in a role in that. Let's get
The
him
science guy?
on that one. The other one, the British version of him.
Other like vampire dude.
Oh, Doctor Who. Gotcha. Okay.
Yes,
All
yeah,
right.
you got it. So back on track. The fourth and final lord is the aforementioned Heisenberg, who is not a giant lichen, but is in fact a Magneto, and he runs a giant factory. It's
You mean
hinted at earlier.
Heisenberg, Eric?
Oh,
He talks
oh
Oh,
like
my God.
this.
nice.
Are you Troy Baker? Did we?
Is he the voice of Heisenberg?
No,
No,
but
he's
I thought it
not.
Oh,
was.
okay.
I definitely
It's like,
thought
Jesus,
like,
hey, man, Troy is slumming. He phoned that one in. If that's
oh
I'm
man,
surprised. Do you recognize him eventually, Eric?
who? Troy?
Yeah.
No, I had to look it up.
No. Heisenberg.
His voice.
Yeah, Kayla looked it up, and I don't remember like when she
Oh,
gave me the name, like it coming to mind as someone I know. Who was it?
I'm surprised. I thought you would know him right away.
Maybe.
It's Kamsky from Detroit, Become Human.
Gotcha.
Like
Okay.
the instant I heard him, like, oh shit, it's Kamsky. Oh god.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
so.
So
That's like like that dude does a voice like that in a different game, like the same kind
Yes,
of
that
voice.
is his voice.
Oh gosh, why does that guy a voice actor?
Well,
Oh
in
man,
Detroit, he plays like a scummy
Capcom, give me a
billionaire.
call, man. I could have I could have done something better than fucking that dude. Jeez.
It works in Detroit Become Human because he's like a scummy, like sociopath billionaire, and it makes
Yeah.
The
sense.
manga villain?
What?
Yugi boy, like he's just like a terrible, like over the top, like I don't know. It's so bad, that voice. It just took me out of any kind of place
Didn't fit
of.
his character.
Uh,
I like the voice
thought he
actor.
was
though.
fine. I don't know. I didn't. I thought he was fine. I thought he was cool. I love Magneto powers, so the fact that he has Magneto powers, maybe the voice didn't matter. Um, but he's got a big ass factory, and
we
Lots
didn't
of
touch
worlds.
on the stronghold area before, like where you have to fight like 40 wolves.
you're right. I should. Yeah, I got ahead of
Yeah.
myself there because I did want to mention. This is when I said put a pin in it.
Okay.
For the whole game, essentially, me at least through my playthrough, I had no issues with supplies for the most part. I always had enough bullets. I always had enough healing items or crafting items, etc., and money. Like too, I felt like the game was pretty good at like doling out the money to like upgrade your guns and whatnot, and like access to those upgrades as well too. I like the pacing of that quite a bit.
Oh, I thought it was terrible. Way off.
Yeah, huge
Man, no,
disagreement.
it worked. It worked for me because it felt like every time every time I had 100,000 lay or whatever else, I had like the next 3 set of gun upgrades that I needed to do, and then whatever. Then now I'm down to 20,000 lay or whatever else, and I could keep it or I could buy another healing potion or whatever, like, and I would just keep it. And until the stronghold is what I ran into, which is just waves and waves of enemies. As soon as you get there, they start using bows for the first time, I think, in the game.
Yeah.
In
So
the
you have
opening
some more
area, they
range.
can bow you too.
Not
But
when I'm in the house, they can't.
really,
Right.
coward. Really quick on the upgrading thing. I think that's
Yeah.
like the second biggest disappointment is that I think they mishandled the upgrading immensely.
Yeah.
Like when you have enough money to actually start upgrading your first guns, I invested into my first guns thinking this game would be a long game, and then they immediately give you a second pair of guns that are already stronger than your upgraded guns, and I was burnt very poorly. I was not interested in upgrading my guns anymore.
Well, I feel like with the
Like,
handgun, I thought the upgrades were okay because, like, with the handgun as an example, the fully upgraded handgun at that point, and then the second handgun they give you, the second handgun has more power, but like if you fully upgraded the clip capacity, it was like 20 bullets in the first handgun that you got to like 7 in the newly the one you get secondarily to that. So I personally felt like it was done pretty all right because I had to make that like, oh, this new handgun that I got will right off the bat with no upgrades do 20% more damage, but 7 bullets versus 20 or
see, Eric,
whatever.
that's why you are a Resident Evil 4 noob, because you should know that power is king.
Eh,
Most powerful gun is the gun you use.
Yeah, I don't know. I like having a lot of bullets as opposed to
At
powerful
9,
bullets.
baby.
Because I miss a lot. I'm a guy who misses a lot. So
I don't
if you got
miss.
20 shots, I can hit like 12 of them. So I'm good.
I've played Apex Legends with you, Eric. I know.
Right, exactly.
You're
So
on. Do you notice a different, like on PC, Josh? Just the ease of dealing with enemies on that is different than a.
I use a controller.
Oh, okay.
I'm not a headshot king or by any like stretch of the imagination or anything like that. So
I don't know if I
but
don't know if I've ever shot a
The game's
monster
pretty
in the body.
generous with headshots.
yeah. But the stronghold, so there are like it's the most enemies you've ever faced in the game. They just kind of keep coming. There's exploding barrels. It's kind of the most action-packed section, or at least the most shooty action-packed section up until that point. And I found it kind of odd because so I power through that area. I kill everything. I get past it, and for the first time that I can remember in the game, now I'm like kind of low on stuff. It like becomes more similar to like RE7 where you have or any of the early RE games where like, oh man, I'm kind of low on supplies. Did you guys run into that at all?
No.
Towards the very end, like, because I guess you're supposed to just run. You're not supposed to fight
Mhm.
the enemies in this area. I fought them all. I killed everything.
Me too.
And the end of the boss fight at the end, I was pretty low on stuff. But then
I would.
it's just a rubber band. You're quickly good back on your feet after that.
I will tell you, you did not kill everything because the enemies in Stronghold are again functionally infinite. Because if you kill everything in the room and you wait like 30 seconds, they just spawn again. And
Well, I
not
killed a
into
lot
that.
of things. Killed a lot of.
Yeah. So I played through it, killed everything, saw that they were respawning, reloaded my save, ran through, and I had so much loads.
Yeah, I mean, going into it, I had like just loads of everything, but by the time, because what I did, like I went like up to the top area because very vertical area, you got to kind of climb and shoot everything else. I like fell back down at one point. I think on purpose. I wanted to like get some. There were pickups or whatever items at the bottom, so I went back down, and I almost wonder if things did respawn for me. You said there's only like a 30-second respawn or something.
I probably
Because
caught a couple of those respawns and then finally just got out of there.
yeah, because by the time I got to the factory, I remember like turning to Kayla and saying like, "Wow, this is the first time I'm feeling like okay, like I got a clip in the handgun, I've got like however many shells in the shotgun, and like like kind of low on everything else. I think I had like a ton of healing items, but even like my crafting supplies and stuff by that point, I was pretty low, and that carried on for me throughout the factory. I never like ran out at any point, but I was always like at a uncomfortable level. That was the first time that happened to me in the game.
I entered the factory with about 250 bullets of pistol ammo, so I was good.
Wow.
Goodness.
One more thing on the stronghold. This area really showed off like the movement of the Lycans and stuff, and how they're coming at you. They're swinging from things. They're climbing stuff. That was really cool to see that. Up until the point, they're just kind of perched on top of roofs, and then they jump straight down to the ground, and they're just running at you, kind of stuff. I really enjoyed that part of it.
I will say that you actually might enjoy the ultra hard because they act much more like that during the regular levels. Obviously not jumping around or whatever, but they're fucking making a beeline for you. They're dodging every which way. So annoying.
Yeah. They got a really weird whenever they're like turned like around a corner and running to like a hallway that you're in or something, they have this weird like drift. Like they're just hauling ass and they can't stop, kind of like a cat or something. It's kind of fun.
Oh, that's kind of fun.
Kind of fun.
What is, yeah, kind of fun. Some might say back in the box for the game.
Enemies are like cats.
So the factory, finally the factory. You're right. I shouldn't have said earlier the factory. This was, I think, by far the longest of the 4 environments. Am I off on that at all?
No, by a sizable margin. It's the biggest place.
Right, right. Which I was super
Just
surprised
because the
because
layers of it, you think?
So many layers.
It's just a lot of backtracking. Like
Yeah, I
you go
think
through some areas
that's.
many times.
I to me the castle is longer. But I don't know. Maybe
hmm,
I'm
at
saying
this
like
point in the game, I was just like, "Fuck, there's more of this." Like, there's. I
oh
wanted the game to be kind of over at this point. I was ready for
man.
it.
using like a like actual ideal speed run. Not ideal, but you understand. Like going through a speed run, the castle's about 40 minutes or so. I would say maybe,
Wow.
and the factory's like an hour and 20 or so.
Wow.
It's so
Oh.
long.
I felt it felt like that to me. I was like super surprised. I were like telling Kayla like, okay, well we're here. I guess Heisenberg's probably the sub boss or whatever. We're gonna kill Heisenberg and then maybe take on Miranda and be done with the game. And just basing on like the general length of like, okay, the castle was this long. Maybe the two sections in the middle were a little shorter. But even if this is the same length as the castle, like, oh, this game's almost over. And no, it was not.
No, it was not. And then even after this, it is not. They have more game
No.
to give us.
What did you guys think? So we're given this whole subplot, like the whole idea behind the factory is that this is where Heisenberg lives, but he's also building an army to fight Mother Miranda. We're like captured at one point, or we have a nice little like exposition talk with Heisenberg, and he kind of says like, we're gonna join forces, and we're gonna take out Mother Miranda. Was
We're gonna join forces, Ethan boy. That's
Josh,
what he
Josh?
says.
did you
Uh,
hire a cameo? That was impressive.
Nelson, if you could
God.
finish this pod only in that voice,
Sure.
please. Okay, good, good. Let's do that.
I'm
Why
excited to
didn't
send
you
you a link
play
of
as Chris the whole time?
I'm excited to send you a link of Kamsky's voice acting just so you can really appreciate it.
Thank you, Josh. Thank you.
So this whole subplot of like Heisenberg has been secretly, I guess, creating this army against Mother Miranda. I really liked the factory, like some of it, like the aesthetics. I thought it was cool. I like the conveyor belts with these
Yeah,
monsters that he's making.
that big open area where you see the conveyors of all the army and stuff. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and like the gears you have to deal with and cogs and all that. And like it felt like this is a factory. It's pumping out zombie machine killer things. But also like in a game that isn't like super realistic, I just like how'd this dude do this like without Mother Miranda knowing
Yeah.
anything? Like what is going on here?
She trusts her children, you know? She's a trusting mom.
We can talk about that. I have a lot
He-
to say about Miranda.
He can use the metal to like hide under, to hide what he's doing, from Mother Miranda. It's like if you're under a blanket, God can't see you, that kind of thing. So
I have a question
that's
for
it.
you. A
Please do.
little
Ask away.
tidbit. I'm hoping one of you can answer me this.
Actually, Josh, could you do the question in the Heisenberg voice?
I cannot actually. Um,
Nelson, could you repeat Josh's question in the Heisenberg voice? Josh, go.
I could do it in the Donna voice. Here we go. Okay,
okay,
that was the
yeah.
question.
Very
There
nice,
you
very
go.
nice. Nelson, please repeat.
But my question is, why did you need to get all of Rose's parts to unlock the bridge to get to Heisenberg?
Well, Josh.
Great question, Josh. Very great.
Like,
I have no
what
idea.
was why? Like, why did you have to move the giant chalice to the ceremony place, which is where Mother Miranda wanted it to be, to help the guy who's against Mother Miranda to get to him? Why was that the unlocking mechanism to get to Heisenberg?
Gotta move that giant chalice. Just to
But
do
why?
it.
They had no idea what to do with the end of this game. I don't know. Like
They had no idea what to do with any of the story. This game is the
Yeah.
most video game of all time. Go
mhm.
do this. Why? To do it. I don't know. Just do it. Okay.
I think on a very
That's
base
Resident Evil.
level, you can say so Heisenberg mentioned several times that he wants to hijack Rose, right? So that's part of
Yeah.
it is he can't do that with the other lords sitting in the way, and he also can't actively go and just murder the other lords, take their pieces, because somehow when he's in his factory, Miranda doesn't know what he's doing, but if he goes out of his factory, she will know, I guess. And then also
Okay.
he's testing Ethan as well. He throughout the course of the game, or when he first meets Ethan, he figures out Ethan's secret. We're going to get to the big twist reveal of Ethan's secret, but Heisenberg, finds out, I think, fairly early what makes Ethan special, and maybe also what makes Rose special and everything else. And he wants to test him in a sense, hey, go through all of this ridiculous video gamey stuff to see if you're kind of worthy of being my partner. Is it going to be you, me, and Rose, or just going to be me and Rose? That's
Okay, but why did he
yeah.
give him the flask?
Why did he give him the flask?
Yeah.
Because at that point he'd already kind of done the deed.
But why would, if he wanted to use Rose, why wouldn't he keep the flask and say, "Hey, bring the other 3 flasks here"? He knows he has them on him. Why wouldn't he just?
I think,
So-
like Eric said, he's just trying to win Ethan over, let Ethan trust him, so he'll be on his side.
Not that it's a good
I don't-
plan, but I think that's what his plan is. Yeah.
I don't think
Would
that
you
section
trust
made
someone with a
lick of
voice like
sense.
this, Josh? Would you trust?
I don't think that section made a lick of sense. Okay, Ethan doesn't want to use the baby. Why are you trying to kill him still? You can say, okay, let's do a different plan. Why would you squander such an important resource when trying to fight somebody?
He got mad.
It's bad. It's real bad.
But he didn't get mad. He was very level. He's like, I can push you down this hole. And he's like, you're going to have to push me. He's like, oh, okay, I guess. It was a very level discourse they had before he pushed him down the hole.
Yeah, I think he thought at that point he would, for whatever reason, I don't know why he thought that, but I think he was like, see, you've seen all this stuff, you've gone through all this stuff, and I'm Heisenberg, I'm the most reasonable out of all these people, you should trust me. And then when Ethan doesn't trust him, he's like, well, all right, that's it.
Right, but you've seen this guy take down Lady D, Moreau, and Donna, and you're trying to kill somebody that person's also trying to kill. Why would you then try to kill that person? It makes no goddamn sense.
You want buy-in. You want him to join you, as opposed to just because Ethan's just going to do it on his own, as opposed to do it with Heisenberg. In fact, Ethan would gladly kill Heisenberg in that moment, and I don't think Heisenberg wants that.
If you're Heisenberg, imagine you have 2 possibilities. You either have Ethan storming the front gate while you do a metal monstrosity behind her and attack Miranda from while she's distracted, or just attack her by yourself. One's clearly a better option for you surviving.
Ethan doesn't agree.
But he could have, if he just said, okay, we're not going to use Rose, let's do a different plan. Ethan was down to join Heisenberg. It was so weird.
I won't allow it.
Yeah, I don't think he was ever down to join Heisenberg under any circumstances.
He puts the gun down.
Didn't want to kill him. Didn't want to join him.
Oh my god. He's got a gun to Heisenberg. He's like, oh, hear my plan. He's like, okay. And he puts his gun down. Here's his plan. They have a civil discourse. No, I don't agree with that. He's like, okay. I'm going to push you down this hole now. Okay, if you have to. It's so weird.
Heisenberg's a megalomaniac too. I think that's the thing. He wants it to be there's one plan. There's the Heisenberg plan, and there's no there's not Ethan, what's your version of the plan? I'll follow you if you got a better plan. I don't think that's ever in Heisenberg's thing. He's never gonna be yeah, Ethan, you make up the plan and I'll just follow. I don't think Heisenberg's gonna do that.
It just feels like a very ridiculous, contrived way to make him go through the factory. It just seems so bizarre.
I think we're in agreement there. All of us.
I don't have an answer.
Yeah. Yeah. What did you guys think of Strum, the mid boss of the factory? There's a little bit
okay.
of Sturm? Oh, I thought it was Strum. My bad.
Oh, I thought it was supposed to be a weird way to spell storm.
Yeah, I'm assuming it's the German Storm because he's
Okay.
Heisenberg. Cool little detail in the concept art, that was supposed to be Heisenberg's father.
Oh boy.
Oh, okay.
But they
Just
just
seemed like
dropped
a
it, I guess.
rip off of Evil Within, like the guy with the safe for a head kind of boss to me. I don't know.
I think his name is Safehead, so I think you nailed that one.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Ironically, it's actually there's like a legal battle. Did you guys see that?
Yeah, between like a movie monster and this.
Yeah.
Hey, monster.
Have you
Yeah.
seen
Oh
the
yeah.
scenes from the movie? Yeah.
I've seen stills. They look exactly the same.
I've seen a whole scene. There's like I think you could just find it on like YouTube or whatever. There's like a minute and a half like battle scene, and they even kind of kill him in a very similar way. Like in the movie, they like pull off a fuel tank or something, or a fuel whatever you call it, nozzle or something, and he like lights on fire, very similar to how Sturm does.
We killed Sturm in very different ways. Because on my knife playthrough, my knife only, I stabbed him in his engine.
Okay.
Oh well.
So that's the most similar because they get up close in the movie. Dr.
Very-
Frankenstein's Army, I think is what it's called. I think we should put respect on its
Oh,
name.
that movie. Okay.
I think
Very early in the game in the village, you find like a picture, and it looks like an enemy from Resident Evil 4, like the blind claw enemies that have like the parasite on their back. And I was so excited. I was like, "Oh man, this is gonna be great! I'm gonna fight this dude." And just I think that just turned out to be a picture of like the mechanical army enemies.
the
Yeah.
soldats.
I was disappointed by that. Ah, yeah. Shoot him in the glowy part.
Or not. You don't have to.
Oh, really?
You can kill him without the glowy?
Yeah, you can shoot him in the legs.
Oh, okay. I just
I
got
used
my
mines
rifle out
on him.
and just kept shooting them in the shoot them in the glowy 2 or 3 times and they die.
What did you guys think of? So the factory part ends with a really kind of weird on rails for a portion, and then less on rails, but on treads, I guess, section where you pilot a tank against Metal Heisenberg, a giant Metal Heisenberg.
The metal polymer tank. It's not, he can't control our tank.
Right. That was me and Kayla. I remember having that discussion because that's mentioned. Like, there's like a laptop or something you access, and it's like, oh, we've got this weapon it's a metal polymer or whatever, so he can't mess with it. And then like Chris comes out, and you see the tank, and it just looks like something he cobbled together, like out of like a tractor, a chainsaw, and like he just loaded a machine gun on a tractor kind of thing. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. That's what's gonna like get us to the weapon, right? The metal polymer weapon. It's gonna be a cool laser gun or something. But the tractor is the metal polymer thing, apparently.
Did not want to believe that was the thing that they were talking about. I'm like, no, that's it. And he's like, no, it can't be. I'm like, no, I'm pretty sure.
My marriage almost ended in that argument. What did you guys think of the tank battle?
I don't know how anyone who tested this game or approved who likes these kind of sections. It's literally just I don't think there's any kind of danger of dying, really. You just keep moving. You shoot the big glowy part on Heisenberg. He's a giant scrap heap of crap. Like, he's just scrap crap. That's his name. And it's just miserable. It's just so stupid.
Counterpoints. This was the best boss fight in the Ultra Hard. It was fucking thrilling on Ultra Hard. Because you have to use the cannon to avoid his attacks by shooting an empty space, so you blow your tank backwards. That's the only way you can avoid his attacks. It's real fucking cool.
Holy shit, that does sound cool.
Yeah, it was exciting. But yeah, normal it sucked.
But it led to our, I guess, second interaction with Mother Miranda. So Moreau's dead, and Mother Miranda announces herself and also tells us that, hey, I was the creepy hunchback lady the whole time. The hag, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of exposition, a lot of conversations.
I was also somebody else the whole time.
Yeah. And so we get to kind of... it's real snappy because there's lots of twists, all kind of told to us in about an hour span.
And very dumb.
Real weird, real big shift. So we have the twist that oh, the Mia that got shot a bunch of times at the beginning, that was actually Mother Miranda. Chris knew the whole time. We have, oh, Ethan is actually a mold monster. In the events of RE7, he died and is now just mold. And that's why he can regrow limbs and whatnot.
Fingertips, though, not the left hand.
No, not the left hand.
Is that also why he's such a dick?
Well, most of the mold
He's
creatures
moldy.
were, so yeah, I think so. I think he's dick mold. I think, and what else?
We're all
What
just
else am I
Walking Dead,
missing?
you know.
Oh man. And so
She created Evelyn.
right. Evelyn, the main big bad of 7, is basically the offspring of Miranda. This kind of is what ties not only RE8 to RE7, but also the entire Umbrella universe, because we get some lore that Oswald Spencer, the creator of Umbrella, worked
It's
with
like a vacation.
Mother Miranda. Yeah, They hung out about 50 years ago, and he really
That part
liked the
makes no
decor,
sense.
and that's how he founded Umbrella. So real weird and real like just they're throwing things at you a mile a minute. Ethan dies again. At one point he gets his like heart ripped out by Mother Miranda, which is shocking in the moment. I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." The scene shifts to Chris. You play a whole section as Chris, but like this section, I was into the game up until here. Like I was really digging it, and this was like, whoo, big turn. What'd you guys think of just all of that wrapped up in that, let's say, hour section, or probably like 20 minutes for you, Josh?
The revelation that Spencer was working with Miranda makes no goddamn sense. It's so dumb. When Ethan died and it switches over to Chris and they have that line, "I have confirmed the death of Ethan Withers," I was so fucking on board. That was brilliant. Like I am so into this. And then you get to play as Chris. He's got a team. He's got military equipment. He's just fucking mowing through people. That's how Resident Evil should end. It should end with a team of military people coming in and wiping shit out. Super into it. And then Ethan comes back, and I was like, ugh, this fucker's back.
But what if those soldiers are BOWs?
Yeah.
Another little tidbit from the concept art. That last battle was supposed to be a three-way battle between Chris, the bioweapons, or rather the Lycans, and the BSAA agents. It was supposed to be everybody fighting each other. It was supposed to be a huge melee kind of thing. And they scrapped that.
Cool.
It felt like that was still maybe happening in the background. They just didn't like show it, or you didn't get to play it.
Should have
Yeah,
scrapped
'cause
that whole section.
there was a section where one of your people says, "Oh, I can take down 2 captains." Like that was alluding to the fact that you were fighting them as well.
Right.
They just didn't remove that voice line, I guess.
Yeah, I was really the only part that I liked about that Chris section was when they do mention, oh, the BSAA is here. I was hoping for a cameo by Shiva from Resident Evil 5, because the whole Resident Evil 5 follows Chris and Shiva as their BSAA agents throughout that game, and I was like, oh man, are they gonna have to fight or something? Like that would be kind of par for some of Resident Evil.
No, the only 5 Easter egg that you get is Chris Redfield, that boulder punching asshole.
Which, by the way, that means canonically, Chris Redfield told people about that, and then it became well known because no one else survived that encounter except for Chris Redfield.
Shiva.
Shiva saw it too, right?
Shiva,
Wait, who?
Shiva,
the character that Capcom refuses to mention or acknowledge in any shape or form, and is therefore dead.
Well,
She's
she
gonna
became
be in
Heisenberg.
9.
I don't know if you read.
Uh-huh. They have gone. I love Sheva, and they've just completely written her out of everything. Ugh, I hate that.
She's at Carnival, man. They gave her a cool Carnival costume, and that's she's just in Brazil now, partying.
I used that costume.
Oh, I know you did. That's how I saw it.
I was hoping she'd make a cameo in that Chris Redfield section, but alas, I didn't get it. So
That-
you
that
liked
could've
it, Josh. You kind of liked just like gunning down everyone with your team and that kind of calling in airstrikes and stuff.
I loved it in theory. It played
Mm.
very poorly, but I loved that. That's like I said, that's the logical way for those games to end. Is that the big bad summons all of the things, and they need somebody to take them out. And Ethan doing it by himself, or in 7 or 8, is just unbelievable. But having like a team, a strike force with military equipment, they can handle that. Like that makes more sense. And also, I'm a huge fan whenever the main character dies and the main character switch. Big fan of that trope, and I hate it when they take it back.
That part just made me feel why I don't know. I know of course the lore you have to play as Ethan. Like I just would have rather played as Chris the whole time.
Yeah,
Like, he just pops up like at the beginning. He pops up like 3/4 through, and then he's at the very end. And just none of it worked well. Like none of it meshes well at all to me. There's this really like in cutscenes you like it's not in first person anymore. Chris Redfield is like when you're controlling Chris, it like pops out and shows his model and stuff. Just felt really stitched together and strange. Like why is this here? Why are we doing this right now?
I think had they kept with it and Ethan stayed dead, you'd have a different opinion. I think that would have been a bold way to end a video game.
I guess I don't know. To me, I was never coming into this game for any kind of story stuff. I never go into Resident Evil because all of the lore in Resident Evil is bad. It's just all bad.
It's wild. It's just wildly like put together.
Yes, and
It doesn't have to be though.
Yeah,
sure, yeah, but it is like
Mind I mean, like, I don't take it seriously. I'll string those weird things together. It doesn't bother me that like Spencer was with Mother Miranda at some point years ago, and I don't understand how there is an umbrella symbol already there, and that's what he based it
I
off
saw
of.
it on like
I
a
thought
cave
that was
painting or
weird.
something, right? Or
Right.
isn't that how they
But why?
explain that?
Why is
Concept
it
art
there? What does
explains
it
that.
mean?
The concept art
what
explains
was the concept art?
that is not an umbrella you guys are looking at. That is a arrangement of raven feathers. That is Mother Miranda's symbol, and it only
Oh.
looks like an umbrella to you guys because you're dumb.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Darn.
That makes so much sense.
It's fine. I mean, like if you look at her when she spreads her like she's got like 6 wings or something on
Yeah.
a circular backdrop. Like okay, sure.
But she
Like,
did that so she would look angelic, like she had angel wings and a halo and stuff. From Mother
Yeah.
Miranda.
But she chose black, which is really weird.
Yeah, she's dark and gothic.
Hmm
She's a gothic angel.
Yeah. I liked
I like-
visually that fight with her after, get through all the stupid Chris stuff.
I liked the way she looked. I like her costume and stuff a lot. It's fun.
was neat.
I like her mask.
I thought her backstory was good. I liked the lore of her, and I think that's what Josh is saying.
I like the lore of her too.
Like it doesn't need to be over the top and crazy. It's always going to be crazy. It's a fantasy story. I mean, so there's going to be like fantastical aspects of it. There's bioweapons and there's mold that can read minds and stuff like that. Sure, but like the grounding aspect of if you find this mold that can reanimate people and you want to reanimate your dead daughter, like, all right, cool, and you use that to like an entire population, entire village that you're like a deity, like, all right, yeah, it's kind of sort of the Bloodborne lore, like.
No, fuck off.
Okay,
Fuck you.
all right, so you have a person who creates an entire like cult church off of the healing properties of a mold in this case, or blood in the case of Bloodborne, and it turns some people into werewolves. Like, I think I just told you the entire lore of Bloodborne. Oh wait, no, I'm talking about Resident Evil 8.
That is such an oversimplification. I am so upset right now.
Yes,
Also,
there's also moon monsters and stuff too.
Bloodborne
but I'm
has
just
lore?
saying- Thank you,
Oh my
Nelson.
God.
Thank you.
What?
All right, let's. Maybe there's a Bloodborne fan that listens to this, so let's not offend them. I don't mind offending Josh, but our listeners,
I
I
want to say
mind.
also, how dare you even mention me and anything positive with Mother Miranda? How dare you? I
You hated Miranda.
despise her. Huh?
You hated Mother Miranda, yeah.
Despise her. Like, her plan makes no goddamn sense in any shape or form.
I think it's weird that they like dissected Rose's body when like didn't she just like want the baby? I think it's weird. Success
they
was
needed
getting the baby.
They needed a video game to happen.
Yeah.
That's what it was. Like,
Yeah, like, why did she want you to kill all of her children?
Well, she
No
didn't
idea.
like them. I don't think she like. I think they liked her.
They
and
were not as they like her ultimate goal was to have Rose. These other children are her failures. So
Right,
like
but
yeah, I think Kayla
why
nailed it.
why did she want you to kill them though?
they're
because
very much
she's
disposable.
gotten success now. She don't need them.
Right, she doesn't need
wants
them. But why does
ridden.
she want them dead? It's so weird.
I mean,
Failures. They're her failures. She doesn't look like somebody who wants to like sit down and have dinner with her failures
Okay, but then why does she keep them around in general?
until she gets Rose.
but they're failures.
I think it helps with the like population. You know, she still has like Moreau doing experiments on the people of the village. She still has like Heisenberg seems to be an enforcer. You know, I feel like they're still useful to an extent, and she's allowing them to live, but also she realizes maybe not quick enough that they're also kind of a threat as well. You know, Heisenberg becomes a literal threat, but like also, you know, Mother Miranda wants to be the end all and be all. She doesn't want anyone else to kind of you know, get in her way. So if someone kills
But
them, it's kind of like a not even an inconvenience, I feel.
but she controls the mold.
Does she?
Yes. In the same way that Eveline could control other people because they had mold in them, she could control the mold. No one was ever a threat to her.
I don't know if because they are her ultimate, like I don't know that she can control them. Like,
Well, beyond that, Donna has no stake in attacking her. Moreau worships her. Lady D like follows her lead, like even if
Seeks her
it's not her
acceptance.
plan. Yeah, she agrees to her. She wants to be her favorite. Only Heisenberg is against her. So what? Like she has these three very powerful tools, and then she just wants them dead. Also, what was her ceremony or ritual rather?
That I got nothing.
you know,
Hey,
once
man,
you
yeah,
get all of the babies that she separated together, Ultra Baby. You know,
Also, if she wanted the people dead, Heisenberg and them, why did she give them flasks?
because she knew Ethan was going to come and kill them.
Okay, but why do you want Ethan to have the flasks?
You know, because
He could have
mold
just walked
monster.
away. He could have just walked away. Like, okay, I can have my baby back, or I can stop this horrible monster. I'd sacrifice my kid to save the world from a horrible monster. Like, I don't think that's an especially hard choice to make.
not to derail this anymore, but I just had a thought. Like, so Rose is born, and then they kidnap Mia.
Yes.
Or
Yes, shortly. Yeah,
oh,
at some
okay,
point.
okay. And then
No.
They
that's
do
when
the
she
old switcheroo.
infiltrates the household. I was wondering, like, man, did Ethan have a kid with this Mother Miranda? And he didn't even like,
That would have
I
been
thought they
fun
actually had
to do
give
that.
birth to the kid.
Yeah.
Or
No,
something. Yeah.
that would not have been fun, Eric. We don't need sexual assault in Resident Evil.
I mean, I am a little confused by that whole thing though, because okay, Ethan is dead and is mold, but has functioning
Fathered a
swimmers.
child. Yeah.
And also, isn't Mia infected? Like, didn't she get infected at the Baker house?
Cured
I
also.
mean,
Oh, right.
No idea.
Okay, you're right. Duh, I forgot about
to,
that part. She was
to be
cured.
to be fair, Ethan was shooting mold goo inside of her, so
Right.
Ooh, gross.
Moldy smoke.
Why is this black now? I think I should see a doctor.
Oh,
What the hell?
you know,
but
I tried this whole podcast to get this away from talking about mold sperm, but it's just gonna
We
it's just
got
gonna
there.
happen when we
Can
get the
you
four
call
of
it
us
sperm?
together. It's just gonna happen.
To be. They made a
we
baby.
don't know it's sperm.
It's merm, I think, is what it's called. Yeah,
Merm.
Ooh, it's the mold goo.
yeah. Oh boy, Mism. Can we keep going? Keep giving it some names?
But
No.
but my point is, Miranda's plan makes absolutely goddamn no sense, and it bothers me so hard.
I suppose if
That-
you think about it, sure.
I mean, does she want Ethan to be there? She just wanted to take the baby, and Ethan's just kind of in her way.
Then why didn't she kill Ethan?
I think it's once
She
again,
did. She ripped his heart out.
it's a test.
A test for what? If her plan was just to rip his heart out, why was he there?
I think they underestimated him. I don't think they
But
expected
no,
him to come until he did,
because
and then like, all right, Lady D, you take care of him. All right, well, fuck.
but
She died.
the actual quote from her when you started the boss fight is, you did your part, you killed my children and started the ritual or awoke the Megamycete. What did he do to awake the Megamycete?
Apparently killed her children and moved that chalice.
I wonder if that consolidates. I didn't know that part of the lore, and I guess I missed that whole conversation. But I wonder if there's some kind of consolidation aspect in the same way that you're consolidating the 4 pieces of the baby. You're also
But
consolidating the Megamycete, killing its 4 best hosts somehow. There is a recurring theme of like everything's connected and everything like gets reborn regardless
the
of how
only
many times you
reason
kill it.
the only reason those 4 were special was because they have the 4 bloodlines of the kings.
Mhm.
That was the only reason they were special. They didn't get any special injection or special parasite. They got the normal parasite. It just so happens that since they're the 4 founders of the village, they have the 4 most compatible bloodlines. That's it.
Yeah, it mutated the best, but
Right. But
now
it wasn't like they got a piece of the Megamycete. Like, they have hundreds of Kados in her office. Like, it's not like they're returning the last pieces. There's tons of pieces.
well, one of the like things about the mold is that it stores like genetic memory as well.
Sure.
So I mean, it's not explicitly stated or anything else, but like, okay, you kill these powerful mutations or whatever, and kind of like Mega Man, you get their powers, like their souls. They're the big souls in a Dark Souls game, right? You gotta
Right. But isn't the point of killing them that it crystallizes them and removes them from the mold?
Well, the mold is like the mold still somehow absorbs their consciousness and whatnot. That's a definite thing, So if that's
That's
powerful,
a question for the Duke, Josh. Okay.
Oh my god.
Yeah, did you ask him? At
I
all?
did not.
Oh well, you didn't get that part of dialogue, did you? There was a whole dialogue tree that you missed. I think
6 playthrough.
6 times. Yeah, 6 times the charm.
I've got 5 crystal Demetris. I don't need any more.
God.
I kept them, baby.
Oh boy, that's nuts.
Oh.
So our hero sacrifices himself with C4, I think, blows up the mold heart, the Megamycete. The day is saved, but our hero is lost. Ethan is gone. Chris saves Mia and Rose. Oh, I know. They fly off. They off into the sunset, off into a better life. And right before the end credit scenes and stuff, we find out that the BSAA agents that they were apparently also there fighting during the Chris Redfield scenes are actually zombies, bioweapons, whatever. And Chris is very upset about this. I did not understand that whatsoever. I understand everything else in this game, every little bit.
No, you don't.
Oh yeah, every little bit. It's an allegory for Bloodborne. But what was that, Josh? Was there any behind the scenes picture galleries
No.
that told
No,
figure that
there
out?
was just. Oh, actually, there was. They have a little pack on their back that looks like a jetpack. Did you see that?
No.
It's actually a hydration pack that they use to stay hydrated. That was all they had in the concept art.
They need hydration for
smart
the
of them.
zombies?
Oh,
I don't know.
Oh,
hugging a lot
boy.
of gear, man. You gotta stay hydro aided.
Like, we don't know what it's full of. It could be full of Capri Sun.
Could have been.
I guess that's leading us to something like Chris says, "Oh, we're gonna have to go to the BSAA headquarters and go figure this out. Why are they using bioweapons?" But that's like the last we get of that. But there's also an
Well,
after credit scene.
Yeah.
What's up, Nelson? Did we want to
I
get
was
to
gonna say
the
all
after
this
credits?
lore talk is really just boiled down to there's literally a point where an agent's like, "Man, Chris, we should have told him at the beginning of this fucking game that his
Oh.
wife wasn't real." Like, come on,
That
like they
reminds
literally
me.
just wipe it under the rug that this whole plot is awful. Like Chris literally just goes like, "Well, hindsight, I should have done that." But oh well.
That reminds me, though, really quickly, that scene
Oh, we have
also makes.
We have to talk more about the plot. Oh, no.
Yes, really
No.
quick.
No.
Imagine you're Chris, okay, and you witness the fight with Eveline, another mega host of the mold or whatever. She turns into a giant fucking head. You have to shoot rockets at her. Like, there's a whole thing involved with trying to kill her.
Oh yeah.
But then he fights Miranda, shoots her 5 times. He goes, "That's done. I'm wiping my hands of this." That was it.
It was only 5 shots for you?
It was exactly 5 shots. They mentioned it many times.
What?
The Mother Miranda fight?
No, like when they killed Mia.
Oh, in the opening.
Yeah, they walk in, they shoot Mother Miranda 5 times. Like, yep, that's enough. Wipe my hands of this. We're not going to look into this any further.
They shot her
Oh,
way
yeah.
more than 5 times. Like there were like
The game
she gets,
explicitly
like-
says 5 times.
Oh wow. She gets
she
lit
gets
up,
shot
right?
like 10 times while she's standing, and then Chris walks up and shoots at least like
Yeah, maybe
4 or 5.
maybe at that time it's 5, but she had already been shot a couple times.
Perhaps only that specific person may have shot her 5 times. But
She
regardless,
imitate a dead body.
Yeah, I think everyone in Houndstooth or whatever the group is, like each shot her 5 times. like 8 people shot her 5 times each, I think.
I don't know. I just don't see how you're Chris and don't light that shit on fire and put a grenade in her mouth and.
Well, hindsight, Josh. I should have done that. Should have done a lot of things.
It was weird. Yeah, they chose BB guns too. That was the weird part. They were like, we should have done real. We should have went full live ammo here, huh? Well, hindsight. We were gonna do paintballs initially, but After credit scene. Let's do it. We see an adult Rose or a young adult Rose, maybe teenage Rose or something like that, visiting poor Ethan Winter's grave, all touching and everything else. But a Secret Service guy or a BSAA guy or one of Chris's guys decides to insult her and call her Evelyn, and she mentions that she's got powers that Chris hasn't even seen or something like that. Yeah. So she's going to be the next protagonist. Is that what we're thinking? Resident Evil 9 Rose?
Sure.
I think we could have an entire podcast about how sloppy that writing was in that scene. It was just abysmal.
Pretty bad.
Yeah, so is it like all of these, because it's like 16 years after all of the actual events of the game. Do these agents have to go through like a training class of the lore? This, like, why does this dude know who Evelyn is or any of this kind of like? You think they would just tell him like, "Hey, you gotta like look after this girl. She's special" or something? I don't know.
The funny part is, if you look in the image gallery, they say that in the 16 years leading up to it, they just listened to a bunch of podcasts like ours, and it explains the lore.
Pieced it together.
It's real good.
Yeah.
Yeah, they pieced it together. Yeah.
They played Bloodborne. They played, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so speaking of the image gallery, Apparently, I didn't do this myself, but apparently, if you go into photo mode during that cutscene and you zoom in on the guy walking down the road, it's Ethan.
Oh no.
I
Oh,
was
that's
wondering that. I was like, what is? Did someone get
Supposedly.
out of
Why
the
is that guy?
caravan?
Yeah.
Why
I
is
do
there a
remember
guy
that.
in the road? I don't know.
Supposedly, because when you go into photo mode, apparently you can zoom in enough to see he only has 3 fingers on his left hand.
yikes.
Because the mold
And
couldn't grow those
It's like
back. That's
ants.
the thing.
Like in my memory of it is like it's a. How
It's
could you
just
even
black. It's just a silhouette.
zoom in
apparently,
on?
photo mode is badass.
I
Again, I
barely
didn't do this
even
myself.
Never messed
realized that
with
there
it.
was a character there. Like, yeah.
But again, it's up in the air whether they're just reusing assets or if that's actually supposed to be him. Because obviously, I don't think they expect you to see him. Like, but
That would have
whatever.
changed everything. I mean, bringing Ethan back really makes it all worth it. You know, in the end.
What a great ending that would have been. Ugh, it's so upset. This game, the story is just a cavalcade of just something that was so close to being great. They just squandered it at every turn.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty much, in agreement. We've obviously gone back and forth on different interpretations of little scenes and stuff, but it's convoluted. It's a lot. It's a lot of nonsense. If you really put any thought to it, I guess,
It's so
I'm
close
so
to it.
glad I don't think about it.
Right. Yeah. Try not to take it too seriously.
Yeah.
See, I do, and I think maybe you do, Josh, in a sense, right? Like you want to at least.
Yeah, no, I think
It
about this
would
game
be
a lot
nice.
because despite all of my misgivings, I think this game is incredible. I thought it was a joy to play, obviously, since I played it 5 times. I
Really
think this
fun.
game could have been a classic. It was so close. And that's why it bothers me so much, all these little things, because I like the game so much that it hurts me. All these little things.
So I think that's a good place to kick off our just wrap up our kind of overall impressions and what we think of the game, wrap it all up. But Josh, I'd love for you to keep going because I know you and Mike, for that matter, are huge Resident Evil 4 fans.
Uh, Actually, a kind of funny story. The
Okay.
biggest disappointment of this game is the reason I picked up this game. In like 100% the reason I picked up this game because I heard there was an attaché case, and it's
Oh, there's
so
not.
pointless in this game. Yeah, I was so it was the biggest disappointment.
Sure.
If I had to give, no, I love that shit, man. You don't understand.
Oh, I know. No,
Um,
I know. What I wanted to kind of say is like a lot of people make comparisons to those two for like thematic reasons, for a lot of reasons. These two are the two most like action oriented games in the series and whatnot. And I think the people who really like Resident Evil 4, at least when I speak to them, they say like, whatever, story doesn't really matter. It's convoluted. It's dumb. Doesn't matter. But like, I just like the gameplay and like the movement and the action style of it. It seems
and a
like in
big part
this
of that,
game, like you can make the same kind of arguments with this game. I feel. I guess just speak on that.
yeah, the big part of why people like Resident Evil 4 so much is because of the attaché case. It cannot be understated how amazing that thing is. Um, like I said, it's so close. I would put it at either like an 8.5, like a high 8 or a low 9 is where I stand with this game.
How about you, Nelson? Like also just in that same vein, you're a RE4, guy. I
Yeah.
don't think you like this one anywhere near as much. But what do you think?
No, that's not fair.
Sure.
No, yeah, I didn't go into this thinking it could be, to surpass Resident Evil 4 for me. That's done. That is nothing's gonna do that. I don't think. But
Mm.
the Resident Evil 4 bits are the best parts of this game for me. Like just finding treasures and combining things and not knowing like should I hold on to this? Which they dumb down a lot. You immediately know when you pick up a treasure if it's combinable or not.
Yeah.
Except for one case. There's one case they don't do that.
Oh.
Oh, really? Really? Okay.
Yeah. The Louisa's necklace. Did you sell that?
I put it. The thing where you have to put the 2 jewels.
No, that the Louisa's necklace is the you get it from the chest on her doorstep.
Oh yeah, you can
If
combine
you
something
do,
with that.
you actually take it apart. You can inspect it and take the jewel out, and there's a key in there.
Oh,
Yeah.
I never knew that.
Neither
Cool.
did I.
That's cool. I wish that's the stuff I like a lot. In 4, I love like there's little hidden paths. You might find a gemstone that fits into the beer stein, or you might find the piece to the crown if you fight this optional boss. I love that
that's the stuff
stuff.
I like too.
I really, really like that stuff. They do a decent job of that in this, and what they don't do is, like I said, the upgrading system is not as great. The inventory system is non-existent, which is fine because sometimes in Resident Evils, I'd rather have this than the shit. I only have 9 spots in my inventory, and I need to pick up this dumb thing, like just a key item instead. I'm glad that that's all separated and fine, and you never have to worry about it. But I do miss the puzzle aspect of it from 4. Overall, I really liked the game. I enjoyed it. It was really fun. A little long. I wish it could have just ended quicker. I don't need all of the lore dump that they do at the end of these games. Yeah, I'd give it a solid 8 overall.
Really quickly, the thing that when you compare it to Resident Evil 4 to Resident Evil 8, the word I would use to describe the comparison is streamlined. This is just a streamlined Resident Evil 4.
Yeah, most definitely.
I mean
It
that in a
makes
negative
me
way.
really excited for the inevitable remake of 4 that they'll probably
I was going to
announce.
ask that. Yeah.
Soon, I would think. I think it would be the next piece of their. They'd kind of do a remake and then a new one and a remake and a new one. So it'd be cool. Sign me up for that. I would love a new look at 4 because I've played through that once. That game to me is I have dominated that game. Literally, just I know every aspect of it. Josh as well has done that. Like I would like a new coat of paint on that. Mix some things up and give me a remix version of that. I would love it.
How about you, Kayla? I know, like me, you're a big fan of 7, and I feel like very similar to me. This didn't quite get to the heights of 7 for you, right? I
Did
think,
not.
yeah.
I liked. I thought that Village was very pretty. I liked how they had it separate into like different categories, and you had like a different theme and theme in each of the sections. But I thought it was just lacking. Like for 7, I just liked the tone better. I liked the scene better. It was creepier, which is kind of what I want out of my Resident Evil. And like I wanted to say this when Mike was talking about gosh, I can't think of the place that you put your items.
Attaché case?
Sure. Just like arranging things in there was very satisfying, but it wasn't very challenging. So there was that just kind of felt like really exciting, but just didn't quite meet the level that I wanted it to. I also really quickly wanted to mention the puzzles with like the ball and the castles and the movement and stuff. How did you guys feel about those?
Hated them.
There were some really, really tough ones that like I thought Eric was gonna quit the game.
The last one I had so much trouble with. Yeah.
I don't see that.
Oh.
I will say that the like
Which part?
movement,
Sorry.
the like castle ball puzzle things.
Oh,
you,
the
like, drop
labyrinth.
the ball
Cool.
into them. Yeah.
I completely passed up the 4th one in the factory. I completely missed it.
It was real tough.
Good for you. I had so much trouble with that one. The other 3, I think I did in one shot, each of them.
Yeah, I didn't know you could fail those.
Oh, well, you can.
Like
you certainly can.
They're so brain dead. I don't understand.
Nah.
Oh, whatever.
I had a hard time finding the ball for the dollhouse one. I had to look up where to find that.
The ball.
So I like those things. I like that sprinkled throughout my games. So am I giving this a score? Is that what we're doing?
Yeah.
I know Mike gave his score. I would give it a 7.5.
I think that's fair.
Gotcha. Yeah. I've said it a couple times. RE7's probably my favorite in in the whole in all of the Resident Evils. I've played them all. I played all the remakes. I played Veronica and Revelations 1 and 2.
Dead Aim.
Both Outbreak. I've never
Survivor.
played Dead Aim. No. None of
Oh,
the
well, then you're not a
Telltale
true
games
fan,
I've-
man, if you didn't
Right.
finish the
I'm
PS2
like
classic.
I'm
Dead
a
Aim.
poser fan, but
First person Resident Evil.
I'm like a hardcore poser fan. So but I was just hoping, like, okay, give me more, flesh out Ethan, Mia, all that whole story. I was still wanting more of that because I liked the story of 7. I liked the twist in 7. You know, I love the first person's perspective. I thought it was creepy, and I kind of wanted more of that with some touches of like 4, like a case, cooler item management, you know, upgrading weapons, whatever. Like, and it almost got there, like but it failed in a lot of the ways that we've kind of mentioned. So, you know, if RE7's like a 10 for me, this is like I'd say an 8. I still enjoyed my time quite a bit. So, you know,
I would say 7 is a better Resident Evil game, but I prefer 8 over 7.
That's probably true because I don't like Resident Evil games.
Yeah.
So, anything before we close the book on Resident Evil Village, the Book of Shadows?
That when you're fighting with Chris, just one last little thing. You have to fight like an Oreos again, or whatever, the big bearded guy. He starts getting these tentacles out of his back, and I thought they were gonna tie it back to like the Plagas from 4, and maybe it was just a simple little nod to it, but something I noticed and I liked.
As per the art book, that's actually his brother.
Oreos?
Yes. It's a different guy completely.
What?
Wow, man. Hammer Brothers. Cool.
Yeah.
Sure, we'll go with that. Oh boy. So that was Resident Evil Village. We all enjoyed it. The lowest was a 7.5, so you know, can't hate it for that. But before we get out of here, I did want to mention our next section of podcast. We're doing a kind of I'm tentatively calling it the bracket of nonsense until we get a better name.
I like that. I like that.
Thank you. We'll see if we can come up with something better. What we're going to do, and it's going to be a multi-part podcast. So our first episode will be all of us coming up with 10 to 12 of our favorite characters of all time. These characters can be TV, movie, or video game characters. We're going to stick to those 3. Those are things we talk about. No literary characters or whatever, unless they've been adapted to something. So 10 to 12. We're going to make a master list that is maybe 60, 50, 60 of all of our favorite characters, because I'm sure we're going to have some duplicates. And then we're going to bracket them. We're going to seed them. We're going to say who's top tier, who's middle tier, who's lower tier. We're going to have them battle it out over a couple different episodes. We're going to argue why one character should continue on to the next round over another character. So we should have a lot of interesting matchups. You know, like we've got, to maybe spoil some things, you know, Tomas is a huge Mega Man fan, and several people on this podcast are big Leslie Knope fans. So if you've ever wanted to hear an argument why Mega Man is better or worse than Leslie Knope and should continue, that's what you're going to hear. So we'll be doing that over quite a few episodes, most likely. But that's...
Spoiler alert, Leslie Knope will be on the bracket.
Spoiler alert. Oh, boy.
I'm actually not putting her on my bracket because I just assume.
That's
fair.
fair.
Everybody
That's
can't
fair.
do that.
I was just talking to Kayla. I was like, you know, there's going to be people who say that. They're going to be like, oh, everyone loves Leslie Knope, you know, right? So
This is
I'm not going to
exactly
put her
who
on.
we talked about.
Yeah, I'm not going to put her on because Mike's going to put her on, of course. And then Mike doesn't, and then Josh doesn't, and Kayla doesn't, and then she's just not on the
will.
bracket.
I think in that situation we would still like bring her.
No,
No.
There's a game to this.
There's a game.
They have to be.
They have to be in the master list. The master
That's
list
fair.
is
I enjoy rules. I let's do it. Yeah.
so
But we do have to have a number divisible by 8, correct?
We do. That's the best bracketable number. So we'll get it figured
Yeah.
out. So whether it's 64 or 56 or 48, whatever, we'll figure it out. Or 40,
Cut.
whatever that is. Is it 48? Yeah, 48. I don't know. Doing math on this pod. It's never a good idea. No math and no singing. Those are my two things. I can't do it. Before we get out of here, does Heisenberg have
Drawing.
anything else to say?
Heisenberg is done talking about this game.
It's
He's
seriously
gonna go
uncanny.
sleep in a junkyard with all the other cats, and that's all I have for this.
It's kind of freaking out, man.
So this has been episode
Edit this out.
29 of The Machine of Nonsense.
Put me in the bracket.
For Kayla, for Heisenberg, for Josh, I'm saying goodbye.
See you later.
What the fuck?
Oh no.
You forgot about our special guest Donna. She was here the entire time.
Heisenberg got auto-tuned.
Robot Heisenberg. See you guys.
It's hysterical.